All right, strap in everyone, because today we are going deep into the world of AI in pharmacology. We've got these two pretty intense academic papers to help us out. They're called Artificial Intelligence in Pharmacology Research and Practice, and Insights into Artificial Intelligence Utilization in Drug Discovery. And you know what? I'm really curious about how AI is impacting the whole drug development process. From the very first molecule to when it ends up in our medicine cabinets. And just skimming these papers, let me tell you, some of what I'm seeing is some seriously futuristic stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing to see AI being used in every single stage now. And what's so cool is how many different applications there are. We can use AI to find the best drug candidates out there, and we can even use it to totally personalize treatments based on someone's own unique, genetic code.
Okay, so before we get too far into the weeds here, can we back up for a second to find some terms? These papers just run around AI and machine learning like it's nothing. But to be honest, I think a lot of people listening might not know exactly what those are.
Yeah, no, for sure. So machine learning, or ML, is basically like a subset of AI. And with ML, computers learn from data instead of specific programming. We feed these systems tons and tons of information, and then they can find patterns in all that data and make predictions.
So instead of a programmer telling it what to do step by step, it's like learning by experience, kind of like training a dog with treats. But instead of treats, it's mountains of data.
Yes,
I guess.
exactly. And the more data it gets, the smarter it gets. It's almost like having this super-powered research assistant that can read through millions of papers and analyze, thousands of clinical trials in just seconds.
That's wild. So how is this digital brainiac, I guess you could call it? How is it changing how we discover new drugs? Because I've always thought that process is super slow and expensive.
Oh, it definitely has been. I mean, for a long time, drug discovery was all about trial and error. Scientists had to test so many different compounds to try and find even a few that might work. But AI is changing that because now it can predict which chemical structures have the best chance of fighting a specific disease. You can almost think of it like a molecular matchmaker, pairing up drugs and diseases based on their underlying characteristics.
So it sounds like AI is basically speeding up the time it takes to have that eureka moment, like that moment where researchers discover something that actually works.
Exactly. And on top of that, AI can even help us find totally new targets for drugs, ones that we might have never even considered before. It can look at the structure of a protein that's, involved in a disease and then suggest completely new ways to target it.
Whoa, so it's not just finding a needle in a haystack. It's like it's telling us there might be needles in places we never even thought to look.
Yes, exactly. It's opening up all these new possibilities for developing drugs. And one of the most promising applications is in personalized medicine. Because now with AI, we can actually tailor treatments to each individual patient based on their genes, their lifestyle, their medical history.
Whoa, hold on. Are we talking about personalized pills based on your DNA here?
We're getting closer. AI can analyze someone's genetic profile and then predict how they'll respond to different medications. So that means we can choose the drugs that are most likely to work for them and at the same time lower the chances of side effects.
So no more one-size-fits-all medicine. It's almost like having a treatment plan that's tailor-made just for you.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And there's even more. AI is also helping us do something called drug repurposing. It's like finding hidden talents in medicines we already have.
Okay, so is this like finding out that your old Swiss Army knife can also be used as a bottle opener?
Ha! That's a perfect analogy. We're realizing that a drug we created for one purpose might actually be effective for treating a totally different disease. And AI can analyze huge amounts of data to find those unexpected connections, which means we could find new treatments for diseases that we thought were incurable.
That's incredible. So a drug just sitting on a pharmacy shelf could be a game changer for something else.
It's more common than you might think. And AI is helping us unlock that hidden potential, which could save us years of research and development and get treatments to patients a lot faster.
This is seriously blowing my mind. But with all this talk about, finding the right drug, we can't forget about safety. So how is AI making sure that these new drugs are actually safe before people start taking them?
Oh, that's a really important point, and AI is playing a huge role in that. One of the biggest breakthroughs is that we can now predict how toxic a new drug might be, and we can do this really early in the development process. AI models can just analyze a compound's chemical structure and flag anything that looks like it could cause liver damage or heart damage.
So it's like having a safety net that can catch problems before they even start in clinical trials.
Exactly. And by weeding out potentially toxic compounds early on, we can protect patients and speed up the drug development process at the same time.
This is all sounding super promising. But I know clinical trials are a big bottleneck in the process. So is AI helping us streamline that part too?
Oh, definitely. Clinical trials are super important. I mean, they're how we prove that a drug is safe and that it actually works. But they can take forever and cost a ton of money. And one of the hardest parts is just finding the right patients to participate. But now we can use AI to analyze electronic health records, or EHRs, and that helps us find patients who meet all the criteria for a specific trial.
So is that kind of like a matchmaking service for clinical trials then?
That's a great way to think about it. And AI can even predict which patients are most likely to finish the trial, which saves everyone time and money. And it means we can get new treatments to the people who need them faster.
That's amazing. But I've always heard that EHRs can be really messy and hard to understand. So how is AI able to make sense of all that data?
That's where natural language processing, or NLP, comes in. It's a branch of AI that basically lets computers understand human language. So these NLP algorithms can read through millions of medical records, pull out the important information from doctors' notes and lab results and imaging reports, and then they can organize all that data in a way that makes sense so we can actually use it for research.
So is NLP basically like a digital librarian that can read and understand all that messy human language in medical records?
Exactly. And this is super important because EHRs have so much real-world evidence in them, way more than we can get from just clinical trials. And thanks to NLP, we can actually tap into all that information and learn about how well drugs work, what kind of side effects they have, and how different types of patients respond to treatments.
Okay, so this is all really interesting, Bod. I have to ask, with all this talk about algorithms and data crunching, what about the human side of healthcare? Does AI just completely replace the relationship between a doctor and their patient?
That's a question I get a lot. But the truth is, AI isn't meant to replace doctors or nurses. It's more about giving them a tool. It helps them make smarter decisions and provide better care.
So AI is more like the sidekick, not the superhero.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Think of it this way. AI can analyze mountains of data and see patterns that humans might miss. It can point out potential drug interactions, suggest different treatments, even recommend personalized dosages based on a patient's specific characteristics.
So that frees up doctors to do what they're best at, like actually connecting with their patients, listening to their concerns, and explaining things in a way that makes sense.
Exactly. AI takes care of all the heavy data analysis, but in the end, it's still the healthcare professional who decides what the best treatment is and who helps the patient through their whole healthcare journey.
That's good to hear. Okay, so let's talk about the future for a minute. What are some of the most exciting things coming up for AI in pharmacology?
Oh man, where do I even start? There are some truly groundbreaking things on the horizon. One thing I'm really excited about is the development of something called digital twins in healthcare.
Wait, digital twins? Like virtual clones of ourselves?
Basically, yeah. A digital twin is kind of like a virtual representation of a patient.
Yeah.
And it's created using all their unique data, like their genes, medical history, lifestyle, even their environment.
So it's like a personalized avatar that doctors can use to run simulations. Like they can test out different treatment approaches without actually having to do anything to the real patient.
Exactly. Imagine being able to try different drug combinations on your digital twin to see which one works best for you, all without actually having to put your body through all those trials.
Whoa, that's incredible. It's like having a clinical trial just for you.
It's totally revolutionary. And it's not just for testing medications. We can also use digital twins to model how a disease might progress or predict how someone might respond to surgery. We can even use them to see if lifestyle changes are effective.
So digital twins could totally change how we think about healthcare, like make it more personalized, more proactive, more focused on preventing diseases in the first place.
That's exactly what we're hoping for. And another area where AI is going to be huge is drug discovery. Like I said before, finding new drugs has always been really slow and expensive. It often takes years and billions of dollars to get just one drug out to the public.
It's like searching for that needle in a haystack again, right?
Exactly. But AI is changing that because it can analyze these huge data sets and spot patterns that we as humans would miss, so it can speed up the whole drug discovery process.
So instead of randomly testing tons of compounds, AI can help researchers narrow down their search and point them in the right direction.
That's right. And AI isn't limited to just finding new uses for drugs we already have. It can actually help design completely new drugs from scratch. And these new drugs can be tailored to target specific diseases.
Hold on, AI can design drugs that have never even existed before. That's next level.
It is. And it's not science fiction, it's happening right now. Pharma companies all over the world are using AI-powered drug design platforms to create new treatments for cancer, Alzheimer's, and a bunch of other diseases.
This is all super exciting. But I have to ask, with AI being used more and more in healthcare, are there any downsides? Like, are there any risks we should be thinking about?
It's definitely important to think about the potential risks and challenges. One concern is that AI could actually make existing inequalities in healthcare worse. Like if only people who can afford it have access to these advanced technologies, then we could end up with a system where some people get the best AI-powered healthcare while others get left behind.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We need to make sure that everyone has access to these technologies, no matter how much money they make or what their background is. What are some other potential problems we should be aware of?
Well, another concern is that AI could be used in ways that are harmful or unethical. I mean, like any powerful tool, it can be misused. So we need to have really clear ethical guidelines and safeguards in place. We have to make sure that AI is being used responsibly in healthcare.
So it's not just about developing the technology, it's about making sure we're using it the right way.
Exactly. We have to think carefully about the consequences of AI and make sure that we're using it to benefit everyone.
What about the idea that AI will just replace all the healthcare workers and lead to people losing their jobs? Is that something we should be worried about?
It's a common question, and it makes sense to be concerned about that, but I actually think that in the long run, AI will create more opportunities in healthcare than it eliminates.
So instead of replacing jobs, AI will just change what those jobs look like.
Exactly. AI will probably automate some tasks, but that will free up healthcare professionals to focus on more complex things and spend more time with their patients.
So nurses and doctors can spend less time doing paperwork and more time interacting with people and providing care that's tailored to each individual.
Exactly. It's all about using AI to enhance human capabilities, not replace them.
That's definitely a more optimistic way to look at it. But let's be real for a second. Technology doesn't always live up to the hype. So are there any limitations to what AI can do in healthcare, at least in the near future?
Of course. It's important to be realistic. One of the biggest limitations is just how complex the human body is. I mean, we're still learning about how all the different systems in the body work together and how things like genetics, environment, and lifestyle can impact our health.
So it's like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces keep changing shape.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that makes it really hard to develop AI models that can accurately predict how a patient will react to a specific treatment.
So even with all the data in the world, we still don't know everything about the human body.
That's right. Another limitation is that we need access to good quality data. We talked about how messy electronic health records can be. Well, even when we have access to data, it's not always clean, consistent, or standardized.
So is it kind of like that saying garbage in, garbage out?
Yep, exactly. If we want AI to really reach its full potential in healthcare, we need to find better ways to collect, organize, and share data.
That makes sense. But even with those limitations, it's clear that AI is already having a huge impact on pharmacology and healthcare in general.
Oh, absolutely. We're just getting started with what's possible. And as AI technology keeps advancing, and as we figure out better ways to deal with the ethical challenges, the future of healthcare is looking really bright.
I'm excited to see what happens next. So we've talked a lot about how AI is being used in drug discovery and development, and even how it's impacting clinical trials. But what about drug repurposing? That seems like an area where AI could really shine.
Oh, absolutely. Drug repurposing is like finding hidden treasures. It's all about realizing that a drug we already have, a drug that's been approved for one thing, might actually be effective for treating something completely different.
So like how aspirin, which was originally for pain relief, is now used to prevent heart attacks.
Exactly. That's a classic example of drug repurposing. And AI is incredibly good at finding these unexpected connections.
How does that work?
Well, AI can analyze huge amounts of data, like clinical trial data, scientific literature, even patient records, and it can spot patterns that would be almost impossible for humans to see.
So it's like AI is reading through mountains of information and saying, hey, wait a minute, this drug that's used for X might actually work for Y too.
That's a great way to put it. And that's why AI is so exciting for drug repurposing, because it can help us find new uses for existing drugs much faster and cheaper than traditional methods.
That's amazing. So what are some examples of AI-driven drug repurposing?
There are already quite a few success stories. For example, AI helped identify a drug called raloxifene, which was originally approved for osteoporosis as a potential treatment for breast cancer.
Wow, so a drug that was designed to strengthen bones could actually help fight cancer.
Exactly. And that's just one example. There are many more drugs out there that could be repurposed for other diseases, and AI is going to play a key role in making those discoveries.
That's incredible. It sounds like AI has the potential to completely change the way we think about drug development.
It really does. In the past, we've focused on developing brand new drugs for every disease. But with AI, we can start to think about using the drugs we already have in new and innovative ways.
It's like instead of always building a new house,
Yeah,
we can start renovating the ones we already have and maybe make them even better than before.
I like that analogy. And that's what's so exciting about AI and pharmacology. It's opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
So we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive. Everything from the basics of how AI is being used to find and develop new drugs to the crazy possibilities of digital twins and personalized medicine. It's pretty clear that healthcare is about to go through a massive change.
It really is. And I think what's most exciting is that all these advancements could benefit everyone. I mean, everyone from the scientists in the lab to the patients sitting in the doctor's office.
I totally agree. But for the average person listening to this right now, what's the big takeaway? How is AI actually going to affect their lives?
Well, imagine a world where going to the doctor isn't about guessing anymore. It's about precision. AI could help your doctor choose the medication that's most likely to work for you, based on your specific genes and your medical history. AI can even predict if you'll have side effects and suggest different treatments if you need them.
So no more trying a bunch of different medications and hoping one of them works.
That's right. AI can take the guesswork out of treatment decisions, so healthcare becomes more personalized and more effective. And it's not just about prescribing medications either. AI can also help us find diseases earlier, when they're easier to treat.
So we're talking about catching diseases before they even have a chance to really develop.
Exactly. We have AI-powered diagnostic tools now that can analyze medical images, blood tests, even the data from your smartwatch. And these tools can spot tiny changes that might mean a disease is starting.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like having a personal health detective always working in the background.
I like that analogy. And for a lot of diseases, early detection is the key to better outcomes. And AI can also be a big help for people managing chronic conditions. Imagine an app powered by AI that helps you track your symptoms, adjust your medication dosage, and stay in contact with your doctor.
So AI can give patients more control over their own health.
Exactly. It's about giving people the information and tools they need to manage their health better.
So it sounds like AI could shift healthcare from being reactive to being proactive, like focusing on preventing diseases instead of just treating them after they develop.
Absolutely. And that's not all. AI can also help us improve public health on a much bigger scale. It can help us detect outbreaks sooner, track how infections are spreading, and develop more targeted public health measures.
So could AI help us prevent another pandemic?
It's definitely possible. AI can analyze data from all over the world and spot patterns and trends that could indicate a new health threat.
That's really incredible. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are you most excited about when it comes to the future of AI in healthcare?
Honestly, what excites me the most is the potential for AI to make healthcare better for everyone, no matter who they are or what their background is. We have this incredible opportunity to use this technology to make healthcare more accessible, more affordable, and more effective for everyone.
That's a goal worth working towards. I think we've all learned a lot in this deep dive. It's clear that AI isn't just some trendy buzzword. It's a powerful tool that could completely change how we approach healthcare.
I completely agree. It's a really exciting time to be working in this field. I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of AI and pharmacology. We hope you found it interesting and maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, stay curious.